Hi, good morning. It's Jim from maverickstar Observatory. Guys, in this video I want to talk about a few different things. Firstly, about the observatory, and then about a few of the current situations that we're facing. So I want to start off this video by thanking all our people first of all that have got the equipment that from the observatory that we've sent out to them, and that they're taking their time to collect the data for us and send it back. At the moment, Tony in Hong Kong has been experiencing a few difficulties with her magnetometer, and I'm going to email her a bit later on and just say send it back to the observatory, and we'll get you another one out in the post. I think that's the best thing. We've got a couple of these sitting around waiting to go out to different other locations around the world. So I think that's the best thing, and when it gets back here, we can find out what the problem is with it. I've got an idea. On the data logger, there's a button cell battery that might have gone, and it's not producing the file that we have all the data from the magnetometer collected and put onto the file. So I'm sure it's an easy fix, and I think that's the best way to fix it. And it's a demonstration of having lots of equipment like we've got. I mean, just to date, what we have is the TriMag here, magnetosphere sensor here in the UK. Over in Canada, we've got a magnetometer, and we've got a muon detector, which will arrive hopefully within the next week, as long as it doesn't get caught up in customs or border control. Down in Arizona, we've got a superstar there looking after one of our magnetometers. And then over on the other side of the world, in Hong Kong, we've got Tony looking after one of our magnetometers there. There's a bit of a problem at the moment. We'll get that sorted, get a new one sent out. And then down in Australia, on the east coast and west coast, we've got magnetometers, and also in Perth, we've got a muon detector. So, we've got quite a bit of equipment out there, and as you can imagine, it requires maintenance. Even the equipment that we've got here, over the last few years of running the TriMag, we've had to replace a couple of the tracks on there and replace things like transceivers. So, there is a cost, and you have to maintain the equipment that you've got, and also at the same time we're trying to expand the equipment that we've got out there in the field to focus more on this rare anomaly that humanity has never experienced before. This is the magnetic reversal that is taking place. Last completed reversal was 780,000 years ago, and at that time we was probably breaking coconuts open with bones. That's even if we was around that long ago. But a lot of work to this point in time has gone in. I also want to say a big thanks to the patrons. Without you guys, and you guys that make those one-off PayPal donations like John did this week, and I've got to say a huge thanks to JBM, who you are, and you alone pulled us out of the overdraft this week. Sometimes I sit here and almost just leave it in God's hands, and sometimes we have someone like JBM come along and make a donation to the observatory, and it really lifts us up and enables us to go a little bit further forward. So huge thanks to you and all you other guys. Okay, so we have just moving on to something else now. We have a beautiful world, and it gives us everything we need to thrive, and all the resources we could ever want on this world, in this life that we've got as well, are here. The problem is that some of us are making it really difficult for the majority of the others to get their hands on these resources, and there is a power grab, as you're aware of, and there is a globalization now of motivated billionaires that want to use what is taking place right now with this pandemic as an excuse to bring about a reset. They've even got the Pope in on it. And I'm talking about these Davos meetings where all these billionaires congregate and decide a path for the future. Now, it's these billionaires that put pressure on our governments around the world, and we've got a global problem right now. And I kid you not, if we do not act soon, we're going to lose a lot of our freedoms, and we're going to see a lot of the behaviours that we witnessed, and some of our grandparents that are still alive today witnessed in the 1940s, early 1940s, during the Second World War, and the emergence of Nazis and their behaviours. You know, I cannot emphasise enough, but I think there needs to be solutions to deal with these problems. You know, we've got a great platform here. It's international. We've got subscribers from all over Europe, Canada, America, South America, you know, Australia, New Zealand, pretty much in most countries. I boast sometimes that we've got people even in Congo that are watching and subscribing to this channel. So, you know, it gives you an idea of the broadness of subscribers that we've got. But I will tell you this, I am definitely under attack. I'm not being paranoid. You know, they have made it very clear to me that I am obviously on a list of people. And, you know, what that list of people is being referred to. And we're being classed now as domestic terrorists. You know, we're non-violent. We're trying to inform, you know, the general public of the world of this event that's taking place, and we're also trying to watch the back on what is actually taking place and has took place over the last year. The amount of freedoms that we have all lost globally should unite us all into doing something. And, you know, I really when I see other channels, and I've been doing a bit of, you know, just sitting back over the last couple of days, watching podcasts of like-minded people and listening to, you know, their solutions to these problems. You know, as well as I know, that a lot of them will tell you to grow your own food. A lot of them are trying to get little peer groups together to form bigger groups to then go out and protest. Well, I said, you know, growing your own food isn't a bad hobby. But really, if you want to be serious about it, and I've watched people spend tens of thousands of pounds to do it on a micro scale that they can feed the family and still fail, you know, really, it's not really a solution, unless, you know, you want to control the quality of the food and the pesticides that go on that food that you purchase. But what I would like to do is keep, you know, the systems that are in place, just improve them and clean out the rubbish, you know, from these governments. I'm not anti-government in any respect. I just don't like the fact that what we've seen over the last couple of decades is these the pressure from these big organisations pushing through policies that enable them to get bigger and bigger, and at the same time remove freedoms from us. We're talking about the lobbyists. You know, I will support your campaign with a couple of £1 million, but, you know, we need a little scratch on the back in return for that down the road, and we'll call on you when that needs to be done. What do you say? Yeah, of course, we'll take that. No problem. Okay, I'll put the money in your bank now. That sort of thing. You know, as opposed to doing the job that they're supposed to, that is serving the general public of all of the world governments. So, you know, my solution is not protest and not go out and grow your own food. My solution is, and the reason for that is, first of all, you know, let's talk about protesting right now with the current pandemic. It's banned. Here in the UK, you can't congregate with people more than 10. If you organise, otherwise you'll get fined. I think it is about £800 each. You know, if you organise larger events, you're talking up in the regions of £10,000 fines. Even if you ignore that fact and you still get, you know, a couple of thousand people or more together to do a good protest, you're faced with police who are wearing body armour that are going to cause trouble. They are going to cause an ignition point where it gives them the excuse to hit people, use water cannons, use tear gas, use rubber bullets if need be. And, it does cost the general public not just the effort, but money to get to these events, to start doing them. The fuel in the car or the train ticket to get there. And then, we end up being beaten back for it, or fined for it, or arrested for it and given a criminal record for social disorder. It's not good. And then on top of that, we are classed as domestic terrorists. And we can be classed as domestic terrorists simply now because we don't agree with government policy. They call it a democracy, and they also say that we live in the free market. But with, GCHQ, MI6, the NSA, FBI and the CIA, and all the other organisations around the world, like Mossad and everything else, in all the other countries, they've all got their, special divisions. They're spying on us. They can check your camera on your phone. They can switch it on, and not just your camera, but your children's camera. And they might be getting undressed in the bedroom whilst some fat nerd sitting at a computer in GCHQ is watching your child get undressed. He can check your wife's phone. They can check your laptop. They can switch these cameras on and the microphones on at any point in time they want. And they can say that they are doing it in order to gather information because they suspect that this person is a domestic terrorist. And that is enough reason for them to invade your privacy. It's not just that. They know what car you drive. They know how you spend your money. The amount of bulk data gathering now that they're doing on, ordinary people around the world is shocking. And a lot of the time it is being used illegally to put people out of business so that lobbyists who are paying a lot of money get the market. And what I'm saying is, we don't have what they tell us we've got. There is no democracy. There is no free market. And what we're having to deal with also on top of that is the restriction of a lot of freedoms, like freedom of information, freedom of association, freedom of speech. And, when you compare today's times with times, that start around late 1930s and into early 1940s, you recognise that there is a clear and common resemblance that by no mistake is there and no coincidence. This is socialism, and it's going to get worse unless people of this planet that we're looking at right now start working together. And it's difficult to motivate people to show them that this is what is taking place. And I'm not surprised that this behaviour has come about, because the people that lived during the late 1930s and early 1940s, there isn't many of them left to scream at the top of their voices at this generation that what is happening is a repeat. And that was not a nice experience. That saw the death of millions and millions of people, and in some cases horrific deaths. We've seen death factories that were built in Auschwitz in Poland. We know how the Jews was treated in Warsaw in Poland. And slowly but surely this behaviour has come back to this point in time. So there has to be some real solutions to deal with this problem. With regards to the pole shift, there's not much we can do about that. We've got to live through and experience whatever comes down the road with that. And, we're monitoring that. We're doing everything we possibly can with what we've got to do that and keep people informed with that. But with this other problem that we're facing right now, we need to act. And that's why I said to people, boycott, Amazon. Massive multi-billion-pound company. If we can collapse it through boycotting it, Nobody's going to get hit with truncheons, rubber bullets, water cannoned. No one's got to spend money on getting to these events. It's a perfect way of protest. Slowly but surely, whilst we've all been going about our daily business, focusing on our family lives, we have all had a net through over us. And now that net is starting to close in, and they're starting to bring us all up to the surface. We need to start to act. If we don't, then, there is another aspect that I've been, thinking about. There are two ways. We can do something or do nothing. Obviously, if we do something, it's got to be in the line of protesting, boycotting these multi-billion-pound companies and CEOs. But if we do nothing, then we're just going to leave it down to the universal conscious to act, and eventually it will. And you might think, oh, well, Gene, is that really the way? Just leave it down to God. Just leave it down to God. He will act. Trust me. Those that don't believe in those sorts of things, that's fine. But if you put down these strange things that happen in your life, like synchronicity and coincidence that could never happen in a million years, yet it did. If you write those off as just coincidence, then you're not going through life with open eyes. In some of these circumstances, the chances of them ever happening would be 1 billion or more so to 1. All the evidence is there for people to see. I even introduced a lot of doubters to an equation which has been tested by a lot of very intelligent people, even within some of these organisations, and they have been left gobsmacked. I have put that equation out there, which shows that this universe is absolutely conscious, and the way in which it goes about its business is in a logical manner. And for that reason, whatever you call your God does really exist. It's brought a lot of peace to a lot of people's lives. For some people, it was what they needed to see, to know for sure. There's some people we live with on this planet that just simply don't have faith, blind faith, and trust that things like gods exist. They need something else. And, that's what I showed them, that equation. Now, we can leave it and do nothing about this current situation. And, I will explain this. If we leave it, then, the situation is going to turn into a horror show. We are going to witness a horror film in reality everywhere around this world. And, we will end up in a situation where we are treated like slaves everywhere. There will be no freedoms. You'll be told what to eat. You will be told how many children you can have, and they will be told what job they will have, because society demands that they have this sort of job in the future. It will be an ugly situation, but this is what's going to happen. Eventually, down the road, it will change, but it will take thousands of years to do that, as opposed to, stepping up to the plate now and acting and doing something. Why do I say thousands of years? It's because this planet, has been around for millions and millions of years. We've only supposed to have been on this planet for the last 100,000 years. So whether we're here in 1,000 years and we've wiped ourselves out or not, this planet is still going to continue to be here regardless. And if you paid any attention to the universal equation and the videos I've done, you know that you have your purpose in the part of this universe and the way in which it flows and carries out the plan. The plan has been in place for trillions of years in this universe. Before this solar system was created, the plan was already in place. So we can't change nothing, really. about where this planet is going to be in the next million years, because it will be there by the design of that plan. And my point is that, you know, we are part of the plan, and we, you know, if we wasn't part of the plan would break down. It wouldn't be in existence. So the very fact that we're here right now proves that we're part of that plan. And whatever evolution or how this planet evolves in the future, you know, there's not much we can do about that. But what we can do is decide whether we want to go to that cinema to watch that horror film play out or not. But we have to make the choice. Do we go or do we stay at home? If we stay at home, you know, we are going to watch that film regardless. If we do nothing. If we act, it is a decision that stays. No. You know, there are other choices of film. I want to go and see that one, which has a happy ending. You know, what we need to do is, first of all, agree that the situation has arisen now, that something needs to be done, and then, second of all, agree on the solution. And the reason why I suggested the solution I did with boycotting is because it's a safest way that doesn't really cost anyone anything, and it is something that we can all do together from the comfort of our armchairs even. So guys, I'm going to leave it here. You know, big thanks to those that have supported the Observatory over the last few days. You know, there is a link down there. It'd be great to see a few more people, you know, join in and support the Observatory. And the only other thing to say is, guys, you know, just bear in mind what I've said in this video about a few things. And, you know, you can do your boycotting today. It's Amazon that we want to go for first. Okay, links down there in the description. Look after your loved ones. As always, bye for now.